Hi, hello, happy Sabbath and Shabbat Shalom. As we're getting into winter time, you notice I got a ladder in here. It's because I got to go upstairs and block off all the upper vents that are up inside there. You can't see them from here, but there's 5 of them. You can see them from the outside world. You notice the light there. Well, I've got another one over here I didn't install yet. Basically, what I've got going on, some of those lights I got from that one website was only like $5 a light, which each has its own power supply. These pieces of metal here were from some office stuff that I was throwing out during a remodel of a H&R Block. Just a bent piece of metal. I'm sure you've seen them in pictures around. Anyhow, and I've just taped the transformers to the back side, drilled a hole and run the cord through the middle, and then I've run the power leads through to the front side, and pretty much this is going to be 8 times as many light bulbs. It was a couple of those right there, but they quit working in here, so I needed to do that. I will eventually strap all these cords back up to the ceiling where they were. And I've got the chains they were hooked on. Weren't hooked on phonics, just hooked on chains. Anyhow, so I'll have that up there tomorrow probably. And it's going to produce a lot more light in here during the winter months than it's ever had in the past. And so that was an unintended accelerated project. And I say unintended accelerated. It was an intended project, just it wasn't meant to happen so soon. But it's happening, and so that's one of the things I got done. Actually got it. The reason one's not hung up is because I literally got them built just before sunset yesterday. Oh, Mom got it given to her a fern. And so that's also in here. I'd go in there, but there's a lot of background music, and certain people get real mad at you for that. Gretel's doing much better. She looks like she's put on 25-30 pounds since I put her out here. Nice and fat and plump like the rest of the babies out here. And different ones with different amounts of fatness. There's a bird right there. What are you doing, Candy? Here's Candy. Here's. What you doing? Yes. And a rototiller. Yes. He won't really let me touch him yet very much. But, and there's Goldilocks. Sticking her head out. And then there's Daisy. Rutabaga. Waffle Iron. Fuzzy. Fluffy. Wuzzy's back in there in the feed bin again. He likes it in there. And then Mercury, poor Mercury, she's in heat for the first time. And then her auntie, or grandmother actually, Ginger there. So they're all up. It looks like Fuzzy's got a lump. She's probably got a staph infection. What you doing, Daisy? Daisy, Daisy, Daisy. Here's the babies. Here's a Gretel. So they're ogling at the babies. Nothing really terribly new, just feeding there. Same as it ever was. The plants that didn't take a hit too bad to continue to live, I'm going to try to move them. Let me get this gate shut here. It's kind of a deal. So over here, the potato, it got hit hard enough it died, best I can tell. That's its leaves right there, all frozen up. The basil is still alive just a little bit. just teeny bits. The cotton didn't make it, and I don't know if the citronella is going to make it or not, but it's got a little green in the back. I don't know if I can get back in there and... Yeah, it's got a little green. This tomato vine, I don't know how much it's going to last, but seeing as it's not wilting on me, I'm pretty confident there's a chance. Now, all I can say for sure is, since the squirrels have apparently all gone into hibernation, I got plenty of tomatoes to pick up. I'm not sure if I'll make a chutney or a relish or what out of them. Some of them are going to be green, unfortunately. Some are going to be ripe. Some are frozen, some are not. The sage seems to be completely unfazed by the freezing, unless you count that, which I'm not for sure if that was from the freezing or what. Am I still zoomed in? No, I'm not. Okay. Put those there. So I'll have to harvest a bunch of these green and ripe tomatoes, and then these tomatoes here will hopefully live long enough to complete their maturity. I don't know. We shall see. It just depends on how much stem is left. Such a huge stem, it's kind of hard to tell. But and it doesn't look like it doesn't feel good, but it's not clear as to whether it's dead or not. So I won't know until later. But it's been several days since the freezing, and it's still green at the end. These over here, even though the leaves have all been froze off, these stems are not froze at all. Therefore, the tomatoes that are on the stems, if they have, see now some of these tomatoes got froze. In fact, that one almost feels like it's, it feels weird. Anyhow, so you can see some of the stems did get frozen. You can tell real quick it's pretty dead. Down here, this is rooted. So that means this here is effectively, if it survives, from this point right here down where this new growth is, it's potentially a new plant to come. And one beautiful thing about tomatoes, especially indeterminate tomatoes, is that if you do it right, you can end up with all kinds of propagated new tomato plants. And so some of these I have to pick. As you see, the vine's dead. Where the vine's dead, I got to pick them. I got no choice. So the vine's not dead, I'm going to let them go as far as I can. These babies here, I don't know if they're completely frost-proof, the lentils, but they are looking really good. And they're an average of about 6 inches tall. They probably need water, but no, they're still pretty moist. These yarrow look pretty good. I don't know what that is, but I think I dropped a couple plant seeds in here of some kind, unless those are just volunteers. If they are, they might even be part of the geranium family. Unfortunately, the bell pepper plants look pretty rough. They probably aren't going to make it, but if they do, it'll be from just right at the stump. So I'll have to cut them back. I'm going to take all this off and build a building out here for this. I have an old, it's new actually. I've had it for a few years. It's never been used. Block heater pump. It's not a pump. It's just it's It's designed to convectively heat water inside of a vehicle. And with a small pump and some hoses, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap each of the tubs with some of the hoses to circulate heat right to the body of the tubs, and that way the heat will transpire up out of the roots. As long as the roots stay alive, the rest of it can take a pretty bad hit, but also because as long as they're transpirating, they'll continue to pump moisture up from the roots and keep their vines and stems warm, and that will keep them from freezing. Alright, the only other thing I did this week at all, and I didn't do enough of it, I should have done more, but I got feeling sick in my stomach, was I went over here and was working again on this little shed. And some of them old sheet metal building pieces, interestingly, 3 of them across is precisely, it's exactly 3 pieces across, and which is 88 inches from right here to the far side. So the 3 30-inch pieces with their overlap of this much, which is roughly 3 inches, comes out to, this is technically 87.5, and that's 88. So, or is it 88.5 and 89? It's 89, yeah. That's what it is. 12 minus 3 is 9. So anyhow, and up in here, I've got a light installed. And that light runs through a wire, through that knot in the wood, down to the, underneath the block in the wall here, and it goes all the way over to the barn. I'm going to go the easy path rather than the hard path. I don't feel like walking through weeds and stuff today. So my biggest worry, before I get it buried anyway, is that I might accidentally hit it with a mower. Now, I haven't hit a cord or anything with a mower before, but I've seen it happen to other people, and the first thing I can think of is, watch, I'll forget all about it, get close to it, and hit it with a mower and tear it up and regret it. But so far, it's only been out for a few hours since sunset. You see all the stuff on the back of the truck from me fooling around with various aspects of the job. It's just tools all put out because I know it ain't supposed to rain for a few days. So the wire comes through here. It goes, tracks through all that crap and around this edge. Comes through here. Comes into the shop door there. And the transformer is screwed to the wall right here. And so this is the cable. I intentionally ran it through that box so that it would have something that would keep it from, if somebody trips over it here at the ground, going through this box right here gives it a little snag buffer so it doesn't yank loose. So this stays, I want this to stay loose so that it doesn't have any untoward tension. Same here, I wrap this around this conduit, which is clamped to the wall, just that this won't get yanked on, so that plugs in right here. I can plug it in and unplug it as much as I want, and when it's not in use, I just have it unplugged. So that's pretty much actually all I've done this week. A lot of it was dragging that metal. There was some work involved, don't get me wrong. There was some real work involved. Because over here, I had all this metal to drag around. From right here. you see how it's just bare dirt now. And that's some of the metal there that was underneath, and then some of the larger long frame. All that was from a single small metal outbuilding, along with all that over there. And so I'm going to use as much of it as I can on this job, and then save the rest for knickknacks and projects. I'm thinking I'm going to use those long beams. There's 4 of them. I think I'm going to use those for trellis work for my cucumber trellises. And between those and these steel swing set parts over here, I might even use those there in this trellis part too, I don't know. But anyhow, so these steel swing set pieces right here, they have anchor plates to them, some of them. And so what I want to do is I want to screw them down to the concrete slab over here, which I have to clean out. It's got, you know, a lot of concrete material I need to move out of there. And I've got trees to cut out of here. A lot of different things I need to do before it's ready in the spring. I'll prune those cedar trees up. I don't want to kill the cedar trees because of the fact that they make good posts eventually. But I'll try to prune them up some and get them up higher so that there's more sunlight, so that they're straighter. And yeah, that'll eventually become a garden plot down there for raised bed garden, along with those refrigerators and all the little bits and pieces of PVC pipe. Some of the PVC pipe is in there right next to the, you see the little T sections there. That was a cucumber trellis over at the Mountain Home House before it got sold. So they'll end up in there too, probably. We want to have a lot of cucumbers. Partly because they help Mom with her sores, and partly because of the fact that this type of plant we've got is really, just really produces like crazy. And plus we eat them fresh. So we eat them fresh, pickle them, and use them for medication at the same time. And hopefully eventually also Little Red's truck bed will be back together, and on and on and on. Anyhow, so that's everything for this week, and some speculation on the future. So hope you all have a wonderful rest of your Sabbath, and have a prosperous and peaceful week, and we will see you on our next report.